The next thing that we wanted to talk to you about is actually running the workshop. But you have covered that more or less in our conversation so far. For example, we wanted to ask, how do you issue tasks and duties among participants? But you said that you usually let them self-organize. And we wanted also to ask how many responsibilities or duties do you give to the participants, or that is, how much workload do you put on them? I suppose it depends also on the scale of the project and the type of workshop, but yeah, but what's the minimum and maximum scenario?
Yes, so the thing is that you, let's say, slice the project in pieces according to the days you have. And you have, let's say, your daily targets. The best thing to do is to explain to people what is to be done and let them, let's say, decide how they move. And okay, this is not precise, but you say, guys, we need 4 people to do this thing, and 4 people for this thing, and 3 people for that thing, and we explain why, you explain the succession, you explain how important is every stage, so no one feels less important by doing something else, because everything is depending on, everyone is depending on each other. And then you let the thing flow, and let's say how it goes. Having your own personal, let's say, goals for the day. So in the middle of the day, you adjust according to the dynamics of the group, and you discuss with them. In the theory session, the first thing you do is to say, today we have done this, and we blah blah, and it's very nice, and we have to do that. So when we finish the theory, we'll go on like that, more or less. And so people has an idea, although they cannot conceive the whole because they have no further experience, of course. But let's say they are motivated for the next stage. Usually day 1, they're very motivated. Day 2, they're dead from day 1, and they're less motivated. Day 3, they say, okay, I'll go home now. Let's give whatever I have to give. But in our workshop, it will be different. So we have to save people somehow. We cannot burn them from day 1. So we go in a different rate, let's say. But also in long workshops, day 1, you are dying. Day 2, you know that you didn't die, but you wish you would be dead. Day 3, things get better, and somehow things can only get better, and more or less you are used in.
Yeah, this is good advice. This chronological story about the participant state. When you said you explained them what you want to achieve that day, and how you imagined the work to be developed, but what when in some situation there comes to a conflict, maybe between 2 participants, maybe one participant says, I don't want to do that, I want to do something else, or something like that. So about the conflict situations, I believe there are many different. How do you deal with that?
I let it happen. So the thing is that people, this is a miniature of society. So people tend to choose the less effort or the most content things. So they start, let's say, somehow saying, okay, I will do this, I will do that, I will do that. At a point, they discover that the other thing is they like most. So they say, okay, I will go to work there. Go. And then everybody stops because the less, let's say, pleasant thing is not working. So they do not have something to work with. So we say, guys, okay, somehow we have to, let's say, adjust things. Okay, I'm going to make some mixtures, for example. And this is how it works, because people realize that there's a chain and you have to do everything. And I try to explain that the less interesting things are the most important ones. But people always prefers the more, let's say, the easiest way. Okay, this is normal, but we let it happen. So we find some people that will do all the work all the times because they feel responsible. And as I said before, this is our future partners actually, and people that will avoid it. But in general, we let it happen, and there is no conflict at all between people about doing or not doing. No conflict. They may argue for many things, but not for that. For politics, for I don't know, but not for who is doing something, because we leave everything happen, and we just are there when things stop happening. So we say now, okay, guys, everybody is not doing anything. So let's go and do what we're doing, what we should be doing.
Yeah, and when they argue about politics and maybe they got heated and maybe even physical in that conflict situation, how do you react? I mean, do you interfere or do you let that happen as well?
We let it happen also, as long as it doesn't get out of control. So, for example, there may be a guy that he went here for getting laid. So he's a little bit disturbing, aggressive, and he may, let's say, somehow, be aggressive. And we have, so, okay, if we have behavior that tends to be violent, usually from the reaction of the other part, because someone is aggressive, and usually it's a man, for example, and because the otherwise it's very unusual, the otherwise, and so we try, let's say, somehow to interfere when things can be out of control. If usually also the team rejects people, it's like the B organization. I mean, when people start to have a collective conscious, people act collectively, although they forget everything about it when they get back to their homes and to their routine. But in this case, somehow they form a group which is very well bonded. So they will reject someone who does not fit by themselves. I mean, it is very rare for us to interfere, very rare.
Well, yeah, we wanted to, also to ask how do you do the analysis after the workshop? How do you evaluate the successfulness of the workshop or the planned activities or goals that you set beforehand? Do you have some advice or some self-evaluation guides, or I know, do you ask participants for their feedback? And do you have some predefined forms that you give them to fulfill, to fill,
Yes.
or do you ask to give their opinions in freestyle?
Yeah. If you ever, let's say, participated in some of the Erasmus projects, there are some, let's say, procedures that you follow. So, for example, it's very common in people that come, when people gather, they have papers and they write their fears or expectation of the project and stuff like this. Or they do, let's say, get to know games they play. So, for example, they stay in a circle and you choose someone and you come close and you enter his vital zone and you say some personal things to get to know each other. Or you do energizers. Energizer is, I don't know if you have, so you play some games that, wake you up. Actually, the first thing about fears and expectations, we usually do the first day we meet. So we make an introduction and everybody is talking about himself, and not officially with papers, but we record what people say about why they are, who they are, why they came, which is their background. So we have some kind of statistics about people, what are they, and what they expect of this workshop. So just to know, the statistic is that we have something like 20% architects and people like that, to 25, depending. We have artists, and the major group is people that want to live the experience. There are some people that want to build their houses, 15 to 20% also, and most of the people want to live the experience. And then about the communication game, coming to meet each other, it's really very simple. We start with hands-on, which means when you step on the mud and the previous day you have consumed legumes, you are very close to each other. Probably you smell each other fart or sweat. So you get to, it's his her vital space, and you get to know each other. So we don't have to play games. It's the procedure itself. What else? Energizers also you don't need, because you have to lift a wheelbarrow and carry the materials, buckets and stuff. You already have to use a lot of adrenaline, muscle power, and stuff like that. So you don't need energizers too in this kind of workshops.
Yes, but what do you do then after the workshop? So you at the beginning you
After
ask
the workshop, yes.
participants.
After the workshop, also we try to do this in a very informal way. So we do not ask people to fill any lists, but we write a mail and we wait for their response. So, for example, no response at all. Oh, guys, I had a great time. Here's the photos. Guys, when we do it again. Also, there are other ways to measure. For example, most of the people form groups and they, let's say, talking about their future projects, and someone says, I want to build an oven, let's go together, and they organize in between them. And these are indications of how it works. I mean, we try to not, well, we don't like this, let's say, formal thing, I fill up a form, which most of the times it's about how a person feels at that moment. And usually people do not like to fill forms.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I have a question. How many, actually, what percentage of your participants comes back for another workshop? So, and are they interested to come back for the same workshop, or are they looking for something new or something upgraded to come the next time?
Good question. So we have something like 10% coming back for the same workshop, 30% coming for other kind of workshops, like, for example, if we come to building, they come for permaculture or for sufficiency or for whatever. No, this is more. No, including everything, it's, I think, anyway, I think 7 out of 10 people that attended the workshop have attended something else too, in general, whatever. But, for example, we have something like 10 workshops per year on average. So with 30 people on average, so we have 300 persons per year. Half of them have been before, in more or less, okay. So I have more detailed statistics, but not in front of me. I was not prepared for these questions. Anyway.
Okay, so how many people are living in Greece, and you're working for 30 years? So what when you run out from new people? What will you do?
I don't know.
It sounds like a huge number.
I think it's, yes, it's 10 million. So if we say 30 people for 10, so 300 people per year, 20 years, it's around, so it's 6,000 people. I think the repeating customers, let's say, are getting, the percentage is higher, increasing. Actually, our mailing list is, let's say, somehow depleted somehow, because it's 10,000 people plus the Facebook is around 30,000, so most of them are also in Facebook. Let's say it's 30,000. So we have 6,000 participants, is 20% of them, of our, let's say, viewers, have attended something, but sometimes it's double, Well, okay, it's complicated. I'm not prepared to answer these questions because I don't know. Some people have come 3 times. It's not easy. I have some answers, but not in front of me right now. So I will tell you. I will lie to you.
And also about the question about the participants leaving, do you practice to give them some brochures or something to accept the experience, something on a paper to bring with them home? So do you give them something like that? And do you tend to people to come back? So do you try to motivate them to come back another time, or you just leave it? What happens?
So we for the so we do not give anything printed. So we have follow up by an email, sharing everybody's contact details, plus photos, plus a booklet of some stuff about natural building, and bibliography.
And do you keep in touch with your participants after the workshops? I mean, you share contact details, and maybe do you build some groups or stay in touch in some other way?
So they usually form some Facebook groups, some WhatsApp groups, and they are very active. But as life, let's say, absorbs memories, people get back to their, let's say, reality. So the people that will come back again, they contact from time to time, they ask things. So I have something like 2 hours per day I have something like 70 mails per day. And I give every mail 1 minute maximum. So more or less I have 1.5 hours for my mails, for all these people. So yes, they get in contact for many reasons. They also have groups. So my phone is full of din 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 din. I never watch these din dins because I have no time. It's impossible. I mean, there are so many groups. And yes, they communicate until they're finally silent. The more days of the workshop lasts, the more. I mean, I have cases that it's 3 years. People talking to each other. I mean, mostly writing personal things at the end, but anyway. And usually, so people start with a lot of expectations. So say, okay, let's do things. Let's go. We do this, we do that, and then we do our lives as it was. This is more or less the idea.
This sounds almost romantic, about ringing the groups and getting calm and quiet with the time.
Yes.
Okay,
Maybe
do we have more questions on this topic?
Well, maybe not on this topic, but I was thinking about the next one. So, do you do also online courses, or do you do only in-person workshops and educations?
We don't do. There's some of us that strongly believe that we should. If we do, actually, I don't believe in people being like this in the cell phone. I mean, being like that. Because when people is like that, actually, not only in Greece, but I guess everywhere, we have a gradual change of people habits. So, for example, 20 years ago, when someone was having his name day, for example, a popular name in Greece is Kostas, 9. So in Kostas name day, everybody, you were watching the streets crowded with people holding flowers, drinks, or sweets. So go and visiting each other. And then it was the phone, and then it's this. So you send happy hearts. It's okay. Thank you, everybody. And all this thing changed. I mean, change is also. This is easier because we are something, but we think that we are something else, and we declare something else, and we do something else. So this is easier. I mean, so Kostas is very happy, enthusiastic because he's whatever. So the same happens with online courses. So if we finally do such a thing, it will be very interactive, which means, okay, so now we do Adobe Bricks, for example. Okay, go make a mold, take photos of what you have done, and then 100 bricks. Send me a photo of the bricks piled, and then you go to the next stage. If you don't do this and you just click go to next, it's not working. So also this I hate, to be honest. I prefer people being together, sweating and sharing. But sometimes, okay, I can accept that it's not possible. And online courses also increase your range and your income. So I can accept it as a necessity, but I don't like it. If we design something like that, it will be very, very, very demanding from the participant point of view.
That's a good idea also. Yeah, to make them more demanding and engaging for the participants. But for example, you do use internet as some kind of knowledge repository. So as you mentioned, you use the electronic material. You send the participants PDFs or
Yes.
yeah, books and materials. So do you have some like library or some maybe
Yes.
part of your website where you deposit some useful content
Yes.
for the visitors and participants to learn more about natural building?
Yes, we have our library. Part of it is our own work, and part of it is other people's work that is free on the internet. At a point, we're thinking of having something more organized. I mean, writing a book also. Anyway, we believe very much in training, and for example, if I would write a book, it would be a little bit different than the books we read. But there is no time, and I don't know if I will ever do it. So, for example, now we're designing a school here, but not for building, a school for children, because which will be different. So, for example, there will be no classroom. So people will go to the mountain and learn things, and they do everything by their own. So they make their own houses, they harvest their own food, they do everything, and they are free persons anyway, with no one actually guiding them. We're working with children now. We had this thing I was telling you about 5 days ago, and we, for example, were not allowing the parents to take photos of their children. We explained to the parents that the children, it's not, let's say, it's not about this. It's not about coming there and having photo of your children and being proud of it. So it's about coming there, not telling anything to your children how to do, but asking your child how he is doing it, because the children are more immediate. And if you ask them, you do not castrate them. I mean, the parents should not tell the children what to do. I mean, it's nice to learn with your children. When you do something you don't know, both, listen to your children. I mean, they're more immediate receptors.
I think that idea and principle of your organizing the workshop is really good, because you're combining the bringing people together in person and hands-on experience with it's complemented with that knowledge and stuff that you share virtually in the internet, and that library that you have, and constantly keeping the open mind for everything that happens in the workshop, and leaving it to self-organize. That brings out the best from each of the participants, and then everyone gets the most out of that experience. So thank you very much for all your advice. I mean, it really helps a lot for any new coming organization such as our is right now, and we hope that other people will find this useful as well.